So, reason number 3 why I do not speak to a leftist audience. Um, you'll have to wait to hear reasons number 1 and 2 later. Just look to my most recent meme reel on Instagram, where I said that reason number 3 why the American left cannot even beat Trump is because it cannot get away from, disavow, or stops defending, much less glorifying, the overt sexualization of children. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and just stipulate a little bit more. I'm going to say what most people would interpret as the overt sexualization of children. Like for me, I think Bratz dolls or that movie Cuties counts as the sexualization of children, right? I think a lot of things count as the sexualization of children. I think that most anime counts as the sexualization of children, right? I think it's, but different people draw the line in different areas. And so, I understand that it's somewhat relative and subjective, but here's the litmus test. If you can imagine that a sizable portion of American parents are going to be weirded out, creeped out, freaked out, outraged, put off, disenfranchised, or alienated by the thing in question, let's just say a full-grown man doing pelvic thrusts and spanking motions while pointing at a child, right? Like a little girl, like this full-grown man pointing at this little child and then going, yeah, and slapping his knee while making humping motions, while also being all gaudy and dressed up all sexually. That's if well, maybe no. Maybe the litmus test should, I don't know, maybe that's where you'd go, yeah, probably not the horse to tie our buggy to, right? Maybe not the number 1 thing or number 3 thing that we want people associating our movement with, right? And I thought, it'll get a couple of responses. It's not going to be a big deal. It'll get a couple of anonymous anime avatars, probably teenagers talking shit, and I'll ignore them, and it's whatever. But instead, it had a bunch of people respond. It got 70 comment responses. I never get responses, not very many, and all of these negative, people being what are you talking about, and what are you trying to say? David from Theory and Philosophy, the one who I recently was talking about because of his why you gotta drag poly folks thing, right? David, the one who I wrote a somewhat lengthy, thoughtful, measured response to 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he never responded to that. He comes back in the comment section, and mind you, he's got a big channel. He's got 100,000 subscribers at this point, I think. And so it's as far as the theory and philosophy scene goes, he's up there with Plastic Pills in terms of popularity. And it's when you have that kind of clout in the theory scene, you do end up audience captured by a disproportionately large number of people who are leftists. And they're not just good American liberals or good American gay people, the kind who would say, yeah, probably don't do that. They're the kind that are instead over eager to be what's the problem with the humping and slapping motions being directed at children? What, you got a problem with gay people? Oh, okay. What are you, a fascist grifter? Like a bunch of the people in the comment section were saying. And so, yeah, David's what's the problem? He's what stuff do you have a problem with here, David? And I'm if you can't see it, man, who are you talking to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Where have you been, right? Obviously not around very many normal American parents, that's for sure. Obviously not around the kinds of people who would be necessary to have either on your side or at least not against you if you ever really wanted to achieve large-scale structural change. Okay. And my wife came in there and she shares her thoughts. And then he was like, oh, what? You can't tell the difference between gender expression and sexualization? Oh, God. Like, literally, like, that's how he writes, man. And he's like so calm and measured in his videos. But this is how he is in the comment sections. And it's just like, David, I'm like, listen to me. David, if you ever want to talk about this stuff, we can talk about it, but you keep just trying to engage in comment sections. And then when there's a reply that is thoughtful and that does explain things, you go right back into like this sort of virtue hoarding, must have X amount of social and cultural capital on a certain kind of horizon of possibilities in a certain kind of field to even be intelligible sort of responses. And to me, it's just what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, dude? Anyway, Matthew Stanley was like, hey, Dave, there's no point talking about this kind of stuff to a leftist audience. I don't talk to a leftist audience. First of all, I don't address myself to a leftist audience, and I haven't for something between 5 and arguably 3 years. So it's somewhere between 5 and 3 years ago, somewhere in that process, I was able to really start addressing a different audience, and it's one that's neither left nor right, or it's left or right, but not willing to let the confines of either side of the duopoly block its mind from being open to other perspectives. And yeah, you end up having to say stuff like this from time to time if you want to cut through the noise and reveal that, yeah, not everybody is able to speak outside the confines of one of the super niche sides of the online duopoly, which, by the way, saturates and infiltrates humanities and social science departments all across the world, as well as all of the activist spaces where anyone tries to get anything done. And so, yeah, I mean, that's part of why 5 years ago I officially gave up, because I'd already spent a previous 7 years beating my head against a wall trying to actually work with these kinds of people. I don't think it's worth it. And if you also don't think it's worth it, then you might be the kind of people that I am speaking to. You might actually be my audience. And so shout out to the folks who are here for it, and to the people who still don't get it. Maybe you're not going to make it. And I'm not too worried about that, because I think the overwhelming majority of people are over it. And yeah, shrug it off and let's get back to work. So for me, that means I'm just doing this deep dive into Alistair McIntyre. That's what I've been working on. I just finished his After Virtue for the second time. And now I'm like looking at his over and trying to decide if I want to go to some of his earlier works or some of his later works. But I'm really thinking about this connection between Christianity and Marxism. And especially after reading Tom Holland's work. Shout out to Kier, who also just read it. And she's been doing Sarutu Phase 2 here at TU. It's a thing that we're doing, being alien anthropologists and doing socioanalysis and going into churches, trying to understand how and why people are doing the things that they're doing and what works and what doesn't work, and seeing if it's even possible to be sort of like an anthropologist in your own society in the midst of the cyber era of the post-class fractured mass. Is it possible? I don't know, but we're trying, and we're going to talk about it at the R3 retreat coming up here in September. And Tom Holland's book, Dominion, which was first recommended to me by Samuel Lonkar of the Becoming Human Project, is something that Kira was reading as she's been doing Sarutu Phase 2. And so I just binged it like a week and a half ago. And while working on the farm, I just listened to the whole thing. It's fantastic. Great book. Basically, it argues that the word secular and the entire idea of secularization and of secular statecraft is an inherently Christian idea, that when Western culture imposes that idea on other cultures, it's not like, oh, we're so enlightened and this is like this non-religious thing. It's like, no, it's a specifically downstream from Christian artifact being imposed on other peoples, other nations. And that's really interesting. That's not the main point of Dominion, perhaps, but it's a big thesis that he is driving with. And I'm super interested in that. And I think it somehow relates to what McKerracher is going to be getting at with his book on Christianity and Marxism. And I'm super interested in that because I'm also interested in how so many Marxists end up becoming Catholics, right? Most notably, and perhaps my favorites being Slavoj Žižek and Alistair McIntyre, R.I.P. He just passed away recently, and so I've been binging his work and going back over some things like After Virtue, which is a really great book. And I talked a lot about virtue, classical versus Christian virtues, and how they clash and how they do or do not relate to leftist virtues that come about with the French Revolution in my most recent seminar here at TU. And so if you want to get in on the DMS, David McKerracher seminar, go ahead and subscribe, whatever. Otherwise, I'll probably do some version of it for everybody later, some more simplified and thought out version. Who knows? I want to do something like that soon, but I got to get back to laying concrete on the foundation of the studio, the Theory Underground studio that I'm building up on a hill overlooking the farm that I am learning the ropes of with my wife as we prepare for a new phase of our lives. So yeah, hello everybody, just wanted to kind of give you that update. And yeah, if you see something and you think that it's wrong and you think I should probably just not say anything because there might be some backlash, just say it so you can find your people. Don't hide away and engage and then become the slave of some peer group, some abstract peer group. That's a form of audience capture itself. All right, and don't be the slave of that kind of thing. Don't live in fear. Just say your thing. And people who want to have honest disagreements, they will. And people who don't, they won't. And in the meantime, we'll live our lives. It's awesome. Look at this beautiful view. This hill is a son of a bitch to drive up during the wintertime if you do not have chains or studs on your tire. I have gotten stuck on this hill a couple times when I was a teenager. Yeah, a couple of times. That's one hell of a hill. All right, later.